Welcome to the Midnight Storylines official. Subscribe for traumatic and romantic stories.
Zeni had been sitting on the bed for hours, dressed as a bride, her back stiff and her stomach aching from hunger. But the hunger wasn't what bothered her the most. It was the anger burning inside her chest. As soon as Kanat walks in, I won't even let him come near me, she kept telling herself. She slowly looked around the room. There were no flowers, no candles. No romantic decoration, just a plain bed and silent walls. It didn't look like a wedding night. It felt cold, empty. Suddenly, the door opened. Zeni straightened instantly. Kanat walked in calmly and sat beside her on the bed. Not too close, not too far. He just stared at her for a long moment. Then he suddenly grabbed her chin and lifted her face. "You look beautiful," he said in a low voice. "So beautiful. It makes me want to ruin this face." Before she could even understand his tone, a hard slap landed across her cheek. She fell onto the bed in shock. "What are you doing, Kanat?" she cried, tasting blood on her lip. He pulled her up roughly and slapped her again, harder this time. Her vision blurred, and darkness flickered in front of her eyes. He pushed her back down and pressed a finger to his lips. "Quiet," he whispered coldly. His eyes were red and full of something she had never seen before. Anger, hatred. He yanked the necklace from her neck until it snapped and began pulling off her jewelry one by one without care. "Please, Kanat, you're hurting me," she begged, but he didn't stop. The man who once spoke to her with love now treated her like an enemy, like someone he wanted to punish. She cried and pleaded until everything slowly faded, and she lost consciousness. When Zeni opened her eyes the next morning, her body felt shattered. She could barely move. Her clothes were scattered around the room, and her hands trembled as she gathered them. Her legs shook when she tried to stand. Suddenly, Kanat grabbed her arm and pulled her toward him. She fell against his chest.
Frozen in fear. Where are you going, dear wife? He whispered mockingly. He brushed his thumb over her injured lip, and she gasped in pain. Oh, does it hurt? Already? I haven't even started. Terror filled her eyes. Please don't.
She whispered, but he pinned her hands down again, overpowering her easily. Tears rolled silently into the pillow as she felt completely helpless. After some time, he calmly got up and walked into the bathroom as if nothing had happened. Zeni wrapped a blanket around herself and slowly stood in front of the mirror. She didn't recognize the girl staring back at her. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen, and bruises marked her skin. She didn't look like a bride. She looked like someone who had been destroyed. She turned on the shower, and cold water hit her wounded skin, making her flinch. She closed her eyes, and his old words echoed in her mind. "I love you, Zeni, not just you, but your soul." He had said those words during their engagement with so much warmth that she had believed him completely. She slid down under the shower and cried uncontrollably. How could the same man who once promised her love become this cruel? When she came out of the bathroom, dizzy and weak,
Kenneth entered the room again.
she stepped back immediately. "Don't be scared," he said calmly. "I don't like fear in your eyes." Tears streamed down her face. "Why are you doing this to me?" she asked. He grabbed her jaw tightly. "You betrayed me." She shook her head desperately. "I did nothing." He threw an envelope at her, and photographs scattered across the floor. Pictures of her with a man named Moyes. "You loved him," Kanat accused. You married me to make him jealous. Zeni stared at the pictures in disbelief. This is a lie. I never even let him hold my hand. It wasn't even an engagement. His family only sent a proposal, and my father refused. But Kanat wasn't listening. Another slap silenced her. You broke my trust. Now you'll understand what that means. He slammed the door and left her there, crying over a betrayal she never committed. Months earlier, Zeni had already faced humiliation once. On the day of her supposed engagement ceremony, she had worn a soft pink dress with light makeup and silver jewelry.
Guests filled the hall, waiting for Moise to arrive. But he never came. He didn't answer the calls. One by one, something must be wrong with the girl. Her father, Daniel, stood embarrassed, while her mother tried to hide her tears. That day, Zanny's world had collapsed. It was her father who slowly helped her to stand again. And then Kenneth came into her life. He was kind, supportive, loving. He promised her safety and respect. He convinced her to trust again. And she did. She truly believed that this time her life would be different. But she didn't know her real nightmare was just beginning. Subscribe for part 2. The Midnight Storylines Official.